Good Sunday morning, everyone. As we get closer and closer to October beginning, right? Oftentimes we're talking about the peak of fall foliage here in the Carolinas. Well, early October, oftentimes over toward the Asheville area, right? You can see a little bit of that purple shading. We get those early October time frames, but for us locally, the mountains, foothills, normally it's between about October 13th and the end of the month, closer to Halloween. Of course, for most of the Piedmont, it's more likely closer to the beginning of November. But I love this time of year because you can start to see kind of the tops here, some of the trees, especially toward the mountains, starting to see that color change. We know oftentimes spring and fall here in the Carolinas, we see these big temperature swings. We're going to see that this week, but all of it is good news for us locally. High pressure remains in control today. That sinking motion of air means no rain in the forecast. We keep things nice and clear. And of course, that means more comfortable mornings too with the low humidity. High temperatures this afternoon if you're up toward the mountains, mid 70s there, lower 80s for the foothills there, and across the Piedmont, most of you in the mid to upper 80s. Now today, again, abundant sunshine, just like yesterday, highs in the mid 80s. It'll feel pleasant out there with the low humidity. But the humidity, that's where we start to get some changes as we hit the middle part of the week. Now, ahead of an approaching cold front, things are going to feel a tad more muggy, especially Wednesday, Thursday. But see how late Thursday and into Friday here on my graphic with the dew point, how it almost looks like the bar is broken? That's because we're going to see such dry air moving back in as we enter Friday and into next weekend. So this time next week, it's going to feel potentially even better than this weekend felt. So hopefully that's good news for you. So high pressure, we know, right, in control now, but that starts to break down by late Wednesday and into Thursday ahead of this approaching cold front. Here's the front by Thursday morning. You can see starting to make its way through the Carolinas. Now this will bring a small, 20%, potentially even lower risk for a few showers on Thursday. But other than that, we're still rain free ahead of the end of the week and into next weekend. And what the cold front's going to do, not only bring us that cooler and drier air again, but even potentially better. This is going to be one of the factors that helps deflect Fiona, right now a tropical storm, eventually a hurricane, away from the East Coast. We could again see those elevated rip currents, but that's really going to be our only risk here in the Carolinas. So we talked about how the weather's going to be a little bit hotter and then cooler again. So how hot could we be? Well, multiple days of 90-degree temperatures, which is not necessarily out of the norm, right? Our average last 90-degree day is typically September 12th. Well, if you look at your calendar today, you may be thinking, Brittany, it's the 18th. I know that, but look at the last 5 years. You can see 2017, it was late in September. We had multiple years, 2018 and 2019. We got one or two in early October. So again, not out of the realm of possibility. We couldn't see another 90-degree day, but for the most part, these 90s don't come with the heat and humidity like what we see during the summertime. It's still going to be mostly dry through Tuesday. That'll be our first day above 90 degrees, 93 on Wednesday, 92 on Thursday. But look at that change between 92 on Thursday with a small chance of rain to the lower 80s on Friday with that drier air mixing back in. And I'm telling you, next Saturday morning, really feeling like fall. 55 degrees for a low, high temperatures barely near 80. And of course, as we look ahead toward that 10-day forecast, next Panthers home opener going to look even better. Upper 50s in the morning, mid 80s in the afternoon.